All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. So try and stay on time as much as possible. But thank you, everybody, for coming. Really excited about this event today, and wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to come out here for it. This is our 5th annual policing symposium that we've held here. The first one was a little bit smaller scale and started very organic. And it was really focused around crime analysts in the state. And since then, we've grown, we've branched out into other topics. We've I think, brought other law enforcement partners into the fold, including the North Carolina Justice Academy. And also one of our goals has been to reach out to other more rural agencies in the state and sheriff's departments and try and bring them into the mix. So I'm really glad to see all the faces. I also wanted to say this is the first time that we'll be live streaming. So we have a number of folks. I think we had over 50 folks signed up to participate online. And that's something that we'll continue to do. So at times when we take questions, we may also pause to see if the folks online have questions or how they can participate. One of the goals of this policing forum, and one of the ideas about why we started it, is to bring together practitioners, researchers, policymakers, and to really provide a time in our busy days and jobs to think about some of the critical issues that are facing all of us in day to day. And so we've covered a number of different themes today. We're going to be talking about crisis response and what we call multifaceted crisis response, and thinking about how agencies can work together across jurisdictions, but also multidisciplinary partners. And so we have folks here, obviously from the law enforcement community, but also from other groups that you work with, including fire, public health, also rape crisis. Some folks from Durham Rape Crisis are here. So a lot of different groups here that represent these different perspectives when we think about crisis response. Also having a number of researchers in the room. As you all know, RTI is a research-based organization. We've been around for a long time, and one of the things that RTI really focuses on is conducting applied research that's going to matter in the field. And from a policing perspective, from a criminal justice perspective, we can't do that without the help of all of you. And so these partnerships are incredibly important. One of the original goals, like I said, is also to bring sort of that policy and that data perspective. That's one of the strengths we have here, is working with data, working with research, working on topics that aren't just going to matter, 5 years from now, but that are going to help you in your day-to-day work. And so those are things that we really strive to do, provide that scientifically grounded, data-driven, but also independent perspective for you, but also for the communities you serve. In terms of our portfolio of work, we conduct work across a range of areas. Many of those are we've partnered with folks in this room. We conduct evaluations and assessments of policing operations and strategies with the goal of really striving to really better inform that evidence base of what works in the field. We also, I think that's a doorbell. Yeah, someone just joined. We also leverage data-informed decisions. We do a lot of work with policing data, sometimes from your local systems, sometimes at a state and national level. One of the projects we're really proud of is the development of a tool called Wombat, which we work with Greensboro and Raleigh on to better prioritize and make decisions about warrant information for officers in the field. We also do a lot of work in sexual assault and violent crime response. We lead the National Sexual Assault Kit Initiative, which a number of agencies in North Carolina participate in, which looks at not only using information from sexual assault evidence, but helping agencies build capacity in terms of how they investigate and prosecute these crimes. And not just sexual assault, but also cold case homicides. A really important topic that we've been working on increasingly is workplace and workforce issues, including health and wellness, and also hiring and retention. We have a new project that's just started that looks at how agencies can take steps to better recruit female officers into their agencies. And finally, we look at the challenges around the response to issues around drugs, mental health, and homelessness. So a lot of different topics across not just our policing research center, but also our criminal justice entity as a whole. I mentioned partnerships. Today, this is the first time we've held this symposium in partnership with the North Carolina Justice Academy. We're really proud of that. As part of participation in here, and Trevor Allen will talk a little bit more about this, but we're offering credits towards law enforcement training certification. But we also partner with a number of other groups in terms of at a national level. There's national associations, there's folks from IACP in the room, PERF, the National Police Foundation, Noble, other groups, but also our academic partners, both in North Carolina, but across the country, and also community organizations. So I think at the end of the day, what we're really focused on is conducting research that matters and can be directly applied to practitioners. And that's really at the heart of what we do. And it's at the heart of what we're trying to do with symposiums like this. So I'm going to invite Durham Banks, who's the Vice President of the Applied Justice Research Division, which is where the Policing Research and Investigative Science panel sits. And then Trevor Allen's going to come up and say a few words about the North Carolina Justice Academy and the partnership that we have, and that's being folded out today. So, Durham.
Good morning. As Kevin said, my name is Durham Banks. I lead our division for applied justice research here at RTI International that includes the Center for Policing Research and Investigative Sciences. Just wanted to echo what Kevin said and welcome you all here. We're very glad not only that you took time out of your busy day and schedules to come here, but given the health environment around here, I know that we're all thinking twice about what we're doing and making sure that we're taking precautions as we all are here at RTI. So I appreciate you all coming here, and we're being mindful of the situation as we always are. But I just want to recognize that this is not only an ask on your day, but an ask on you as an individual is to come here and talk about the important work that you do and to share information with each other, meet others who are doing work similar as you are, and to share what's working in your fields and learn from others here. As Kevin mentioned, I lead the Division for Applied Justice Research here, which also includes centers focused on forensic science, a center focused on victimization and community safety, and a center that's focused on courts and corrections. And what I'm really excited about for the topics that you all are discussing here today is their wide applicability across this division at RTI, but other divisions as well. We also have a behavioral health research division, and I know that there's portions of the agenda that look at crisis response, at mental health concerns of individuals that you come in contact with. And the work we do here at RTI is multidisciplinary and collaborative, as I know the work that you all do as well. You're working with populations that are involved in many public serving systems. You're probably seeing the same individuals over and over and working with your partners in the field about how you can address their core issues to promote public safety and promote wellness in your communities. I also want to say, Kevin mentioned this is the 5th year that the Policing Symposium has happened here, and it's really served as a model for what we do in the division and what RTI stands for, which is improving the human condition by turning knowledge into practice. Kevin really, reiterated the practice component of it, but this symposium has served as a model for what we can do in other parts of RTI and what we can do with our mission overall, is really engaging with you all, taking evidence, lessons learned, data in the field, and talking with you about how it can be applied, how we can all do our jobs better to meet the needs of our community, how we can reach rural communities, how we can engage in multidisciplinary and collaborative responses to really get at the heart of what our community needs and what will serve. So again, I wanted to thank you and actually thank Kevin for bringing folks together and his team here, because again, it's really something that all of RTI has looked to as an important practice that can have implications for the work we do for officer safety and wellness, not only in law enforcement, but in corrections and other public serving communities. So thank you and welcome. Trevor.
Thank you, good morning. It's great to see all of you here. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to partner with RTI. When the opportunity for that came up, it was a no-brainer for us. We looked at our mission at the Justice Academy, which is to enhance the careers of criminal justice officers through research, education, and training. And our daily mantra is to do things right. And it's not that we can't spell. We spell it R-I-T-E. We understand how to spell the word right, but that stands for relevant, innovative, timely, and engaging. So when we look at ways to be innovative and utilize research, it was a no-brainer for us to partner with RTI. So we appreciate that opportunity to do so. You're going to see a couple of our staff members, our instructors, present today. on critical topics, please take advantage of other courses that we offer at the Justice Academy. Through Bill Laux and Paul Phelan are two that are here. Also, Holly Jones from DOJ is going to be discussing the lab training for domestic violence. Please take advantage of all of those opportunities through the academy that we have for continuing education. We are currently revising our BLET, Basic Law Enforcement Training Program, for the entire state, and you're going to be amazed when you see some of the improvements that we're making in that. Introducing concepts like procedural justice and police legitimacy, problem-solving techniques that will permeate all the way through the curriculum. So we're looking forward to introducing that next year. Kevin mentioned credit for training. Just to be clear on that and how that's available for you is, all of you as officers in the room are aware, and taking this virtually are aware of how to get in-service training towards your 24-hour in-service requirement. This would apply for your advanced certificate, not for in-service requirement based on the administrative code mandates for that. But if you're in pursuit of your intermediate or advanced certificate through the commissions, I've spoken with both commissions, and this would apply for that credit. So anyone needs any information about that, please stop me at any point today or reach out to me, and I can give you some more information on how to do that. But again, it's our absolute honor to be involved and partner with RTI into the delivery of this symposium, and thanks to all of you for being here. I believe next we have a video from the Attorney General. I'd be remiss in not introducing my boss to spend a few minutes with you, and an introduction video from the Attorney General of North Carolina, Josh Stein.
Yeah, and I'm also not Josh Stein.
Hello, and thank you all for attending the RTI Policing Symposium and for giving me a few minutes to address you. Your focus on a multifaceted crisis response is well-timed and appropriate. Law enforcement officers face significant issues and crisis situations. And for us to affect change, we need multifaceted strategies. That is, strategies that take advantage of insight from stakeholders at every perspective of a problem, bring everyone to the table, and put all the available tools and resources together. I'd like to share a few examples we've seen in our work at the Department of Justice, including confronting the opioid epidemic, responding to sexual assault kits, and protecting victims of domestic violence. As you all know, the opioid epidemic is a crisis that has significant impacts on systems as diverse as criminal justice, healthcare, courts, family services, local government, firefighters, paramedics, faith organizations, schools, businesses, and many others. It is through bringing all of those groups together to share information and expertise, as well as solutions, that we have begun to make changes and appropriately address this crisis. If we work together, we can solve the opioid epidemic and help more people live healthy, happy lives. Untested sexual assault kits also present a significant public safety threat in North Carolina. An audit we announced in 2018 uncovered 15,000 untested sexual assault kits sitting on local law enforcement shelves all across North Carolina. It's going to take a lot of work from players on all sides of the criminal justice system, but we must take action to test these kits and solve crimes. That's why local jurisdictions are now taking advantage of working groups that are composed of law enforcement, SANE nurses, victim survivor advocates, and others to review each of these cases associated with the kits to determine an order for getting them tested. Some of you may be involved in this work in your communities. When we bring people together to take advantage of varied expertise, we all benefit. It's my hope that this process and this commitment to testing all kits will also send a clear message to survivors. We care about what happened to you, and we will fight for justice. We also send a message to perpetrators. No matter how long ago you committed your crime, we will never stop coming after you. And we send a message to the public. We will do everything in our power to keep you and your loved ones safe. A third example of multifaceted strategies is the new lethality assessment protocol that we are implementing around North Carolina to address domestic violence. There were between 53 and 86 domestic violence homicides in North Carolina over the past 3 years. And approximately half of all women who were murdered were killed by their intimate partner. Even one life lost to domestic violence is one too many. That's why I am encouraged by the Lethality Assessment Protocol, or LAP. It's a strategy developed by researchers in Maryland. Law enforcement officers who are trained in LAP have the tools to determine which people are in the highest danger of being killed by their intimate partners. This may include past incidents of violence or as well as other clues to future behavior. LAP training not only helps officers identify who is at risk, it also gives law enforcement a clear set of steps to take to connect the victim to local services so they can get the support they need to stay safe. Research shows that more than 44% of abusers were arrested during the year before they killed their domestic partner, and almost 1/3 of victims had contacted the police. That contact represents an opportunity to take action. Action that we know works, because research also tells us that once a victim who is in danger of being killed by an intimate partner is connected with domestic violence resources, he or she is much less likely to be assaulted again. It is because of that promise that the Justice Academy, along with my public protection section, began work to provide training all across North Carolina. When we conduct this training, law enforcement officers and domestic violence service providers are trained on LAP together so they can collaborate and work together to better serve victims. And we're proud to continue to partner with the North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence on this important work. It is another great example of how bringing together a team with diverse experiences and expertise can solve important problems. Communities all across our state are facing real challenges and will benefit from your work and training. Thank you for your commitment to better serve them. I look forward to continuing to work alongside you in the months and years to come to make North Carolina safer and stronger. Thanks again, and I hope you have an excellent conference.
All right, so we're going to move into our first panel in a minute, and I just wanted to say a few words to overview what's going to come up today, and also a few housekeeping items. So in terms of the day, just to kind of give a quick overview, I mean, we're going to hear from Durham Fire Department and also Andre Richards, who's a member of RTI staff, who's formerly with the Durham Police Department, about the Durham gas explosion and the response to that occurred in April 2019. Also some lessons learned from that response. We're also then going to have a panel from the sheriff from Gaston County, and also the Colonel Commander from North Carolina Highway Patrol, and they're going to be talking about workplace resiliency, and also this idea of how can we better support officers and other first responders that are responding to really traumatic events. And so Jennifer Rainier, who's an IO psychologist and works heavily in this area, is going to participate in this via remote. We're then going to have a panel focused on rural responses, rural responses to high profile, high impact events, including homicide and sexual assault. And we're really excited to have Brian Fisher from the state of Montana, traveled out here. I think he probably gets the award for longest travel distance. He works with us on the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative, and he's been working to build out a training program across the state of Montana. And also Paul Phelan from the North Carolina Justice Academy, who's also doing training across the state in sexual assault and other forms of violent crime response in North Carolina. We mentioned the partnership with North Carolina DOJ. Holly Jones is going to be talking about the lethality assessment protocol that you heard A.G. Stein mention. And also she'll be joined by Amy Durall from IACP. And Amy's a close partner of ours on a number of projects, including our sexual assault work. Tom Scott from our staff is going to talk about a project we work on in Lafayette, Louisiana, with the folks there, looking at a mental health call response project, and something that we feel is innovative and could be beneficial to everybody in the room. And finally, we're going to have a number of folks, including Melissa Larson from North Carolina Harm Reduction, Bill Hollingshead, who's currently the executive director of North Carolina Association of Chiefs of Police, and Bill Lux from NCDOJ, talking about harm reduction and also drug abuse responses in North Carolina. Wanted to mention that at lunch, we're going to form, many of you with your registration indicated key areas you're interested in talking more about. So we'll also have some topic areas designated by certain tables. And that's just a way to generate some informal discussion. If you want to have lunch and just sit by yourself or just not talk about those types of things, that's okay too. But this idea of sort of generate, one of the things about these types of events is sometimes more the informal discussions, the discussions that occur on the side, or maybe even the night before at the bar, or those are the times we find those are really meaningful to folks in terms of getting to know each other and also sharing ideas about what's working and what their challenges are. A few housekeeping events or items. I think some of you already found the free coffee down the hall a little bit. It was one of my original goals with finding a place to work, is ultimately finding a place where I could have free coffee. So I've achieved that goal. But it's right down the hall there. Also, the restrooms are around the corner. Just if you have a question, just pause for a moment. We're going to try and get mics to folks because of that issue with our folks on our friends online, and we want them to be able to hear all of our discussions and questions. So lastly, and we'll follow back around this at the end, we want to hear from folks here about what their ideas are in terms of possible additional symposiums, what are other topics, and that can come out of lunch or in breaks, but we really want to hear from you of what's working about this type of event. What would you like to hear more of? What's really, what are you faced with in your agencies, in your jurisdictions in terms of critical issues? So with that, I'll call up our first panel from Durham. Thank you.